guys, what's up? It's Matt with 86 Gaming, still living the amazing hotel life. As you can see behind me, we got the temporary station set up where I'm trying to do some edits on this video, working on now, plus some more videos coming up in the near future, so keep your eyes out for that if you're interested in this content. Now, this one's a little bit outside of what I normally do, which is going to be an $80 mouse by Corsair. It's their new Scimitar PRO RGB, and I want to talk a little bit about it, cover some things. I also did a written review on it as well that I'll post down below so that you can go check that out as well. Anyways, guys, if you're interested in this, stay tuned. I'll try to cover what I can, and as always, go and check out other videos for other things I might have missed, or if somebody else maybe has a solution to one of the things I didn't like about this mouse, then maybe you can find an answer to that and even let me know. I did a little bit of research on it outside of what I was doing anyways, and hopefully we can come to some sort of good presentation of what this mouse has to offer, and is it worth spending $80 on. Anyways, guys, let's check it out.
The new Corsair Scimitar is one amazingly self-confident mouse, especially for the accompanying price. What makes the mouse so expensive? It's the difference, to me at least, between buying a Toyota, buying a Lamborghini. They will both drive, both get you from point A to point B with the expected creature comforts that we've come to desire out of vehicles nowadays. Now, of course, this isn't a vehicle, we're talking about a mouse here. But with one, you get a little bit more luxury, a little bit more drive for the money, and a namely reputation that bases its success off of offering you the best that money can buy. Very rarely do I encounter issues with Corsair products. I oftentimes consider Corsair borderline overpriced. Corsair delivers great products, but with the almost buyer's remorse feeling most of the time, for me at least. I have been using the new Scimitar now for a few days with complete satisfaction, and I'm going to talk about why. The new Scimitar is just one pretty awesome mouse. I mean, all in all, you spend $80 on a mouse, you kind of hope it's going to be good, and it really is, with some minor setbacks that I'm going to kind of mention here as we go through the video. Some things I would have done differently if I was an employee for Corsair that was going over the whole design implementation, or some of the things that I might have done completely separate of what they actually went with. Some things that I find somewhat insulting as a consumer and end user with a really Windows Vista-y thing that they did do to us here. And unless there's a way to fix it, hopefully you'll know. If you do know, link it down below. Tell me about it down below if you come across something that we can kind of go over. It does have a beautiful, pleasing ergonomic design, and I will talk a little bit about here where it looks like you have two DPI buttons. One is actually a profile button and one is the DPI button. So it's a DPI one way and a profile button to swap between your profiles on the fly. One cool thing that they did do was include a profile that was preset with utility functions, cut, paste, all of that. 12, 11, 10, 6, 5, and 4 here on the keypad are textured, making it really easy for your thumb to find where it wants to go and press it. This DPI light right here, it's not part of the RGB zone functioning. You can't really do anything with it other than look at it. It's going to shine, it's going to be there, it's going to be on. There's no way to turn it off that I could find. If you know a way to turn it off, let me know down below, because I checked through Q and just had no luck with it. The headlight in the front, the scroll wheel, the logo on the back, and the keypad itself are the only ones that are included in the functionality of the RGB lighting, which is pretty cool, but offer no real function to the mouse itself. The sensor is a 3367 by PixArt, and it's a collaboration effect between Corsair and PixArt to come up with the best sensor they could provide for this mouse, especially for the price that it costs. You'll see a little kind of hex screw there below the actual sensor itself, and what that's going to be used for is something to be able to change where the keypad sits on the mouse itself, if that's something that you want to move around. Whether you have a big hand, small hand, you should be able to find something you like. What I would have liked to see, though, is more of an embedded gear that wouldn't be conflicting to the actual mouse itself, something you could use to just loosen with your finger installed on the mouse already, rather than keep up with a tool in order to move it around. All in all, though, it's pretty neat, a nice little inclusion. They give you the tool in the box, and it comes with pretty much the mouse, the tool, the warranty card, and a quick start guide for the mouse itself. There's not a whole lot in the box as is, but you can find your good setting, tune it, set it that way, and leave it, and once you found it, you're probably not going to change it again in the future. So there is something to be said about that. Now, if you have a big hand like mine, you'll find that this mouse is actually pretty comfortable. It's something that's nice to rest your hand on, and I like it so much I'll be replacing my mouse at home with it. Here, as I kind of show you that, you can see my gargantuan hand there kind of resting on it, and give you somewhat of an idea of just how it'll look under your hand. Whether you're a claw grip or not, then you should find something that's a middle ground here. It's a nice little inclusion to have those mechanical keys on the side. Let's listen to how the keys sound, though, because I think they sound great, and I'm sure it's one of your burning questions to know if they actually do sound great. While I talk a little bit about it, we're going to run through some of the RGB lighting features, things you can change in Q, whether you want them all synced together, a static light, you want different colors on the 4-zone RGB. You can change all of that with the exception of the DPI light there on the side that you can see stays illuminated to the DPI profile that it's on. You can kind of see it glowing out onto the table. There's a lot of things you can do, including Corsair's Link. If you want to tie it to a K70, K95, have everything working in tandem, that's something you can do. It does have a braided cable with a nickel-plated USB connector, because I think Corsair themselves even knows that gold-plated is just sort of getting
gimmicky and not necessary. Now, you spend a lot of money on this mouse and you want it to be able to do the things that you want it to be able to do, and I think you'll find that you can accomplish that here. One of the things that people were complaining about was it's an overpowered PWM sensor for this mouse. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. If you're spending this much money on a mouse, you shouldn't have to pay for a compromise in your sensor in order to justify it as just an MMO or just a MOBA mouse. I mean, I want consistency across the board, and I'm sure you do too, especially if you're spending that kind of money on a mouse like this. I think that it's important to have something you're going to like across the board wherever it is. Using Q is a little bit of an immersive thing to me. It's a more complicated than I would like it to be, and I'd like to see them kind of bring it down a little bit so that it's something that everybody can use. Let's take a look at that real quick. As soon as I show you this, we'll move into looking at a little bit about Q. Now, I've speeded it up a little bit, and I'm not going to cover everything that's in Q itself, but it's something that is worth mentioning going over. There is a GUI for this mouse as expected, especially for the price point. You can go in and change macros, mappings, things like that, assign buttons to different things so that you can kind of have the full control over the mouse that you're looking for. One thing that I didn't like about it was that it just felt sort of insulting a little bit to some degree that you can go in there and change your mouse pointer speed, which is not the same thing as changing things like polling rate. Polling rate is a little more difficult to find. In order to find polling rate, there's a gear icon at the top there that I kind of had to be like, where is the polling rate adjustments if I want to change my polling rate? It does poll 1000 out of the box, but if I wanted to do that, I have to go to global settings, and in there I can change a little bit more of the advanced settings of the mouse itself. Overall, Q is a pretty awesome GUI software for the mouse, but it could be improved upon to be made a little bit more consumer friendly. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the content of this video, and like always, have a great day, night, whatever it is. I'll see you in the next videos that I do. Bye.